Hello and good morning, everyone. It is Playbook's Daily Briefing, and this is Playbook's managing editor and author, Jack Blanchard. And it is Monday morning, April the 28th. And more importantly, it is day 99 of Donald Trump's second term in the White House. Even more important than that, it is the week after White House correspondent dinner weekend. Every political journalist under the sun has been out under the sun all weekend, including Politico's White House bureau chief, Dasha Burns, who is with me now. Dasha Burns, how are you? Have you survived? Not really.
Good morning. I was really hoping that DC would make this Monday a holiday or something, and we could all have a little break, but
Quite
no
the
such
opposite.
luck. Quite the opposite. We're waking up to a press briefing this morning.
Right. The cruelest thing Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, could possibly do is do a special 8:30 a.m. Monday morning press briefing. I mean, she really loves you guys.
She knows she's hurting us. She knows.
Before we get into any of that, I'll just tell you what is driving the day today. Very much the 99th day. Caroline Levitt briefing this morning, as we say. They want to talk about immigration for reasons we will get onto, pretty obvious reasons. Donald Trump has big speech planned in Rust Belt tomorrow night, Tuesday night. And Donald Trump is doing numerous interviews this week to mark his 100th day, including a big thing that The Atlantic are doing this morning, coming out later this morning. And there'll be other TV interviews and stuff happening through the week. So there's going to be a lot of Donald Trump for you today, all through the week. But don't lose sight of the fact there are other important things happening in Congress. It's a big week for the reconciliation bill. Congress is back after 2 weeks out, and they need to get the GOP need to get things done this week. So there will be lots of news coming out of there. And north of the border, Canada goes to the polls today for its big elections. The received wisdom is that the Liberal Party is on course to win, having watched their political fortunes be revived by Donald Trump over the last few weeks. But of course, election days can spring up surprises, so we shall wait and see. Dasha, before we talk about all that, tell us about your party weekend, because I feel like I kind of blew it this weekend. I was dutifully going around. I went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I went to all the different after parties and the brunches and all the things you're meant to go to. You went somewhere much more interesting. Tell us where you were on Saturday night while I was, partying with the other White House reporters.
Oh no, Jack, you were the belle of the ball. Don't worry. But yeah, no, there was a special event we scooped over the weekend. The party to launch the executive branch, which is a brand new club for the Trump-aligned, ultra-wealthy. You probably, if you're listening to this, it's very unlikely that you can get in. It's a cool $500,000 minimum to join, and it's invite only, and there's already a wait list. But I got a tiny glimpse of it on Saturday night, and the launch party very much evoked what the vibe that they're planning for this club, which is very the sort of masters of the universe, away from the riffraff, to everyone from the big CEO Wall Street moguls to the tech guys. You had like David Sachs and the Winklevoss twins there, cabinet members, all kinds of allies and wannabe allies of this administration with a lot of cash on hand.
I was sort of dutifully eating my meal at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, like all 1,000 people there get the same meal. What do you get fed at something like that you went to?
Oh, if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Right. Okay. I guess I'll never be able to afford to find out. Okay. Anyway, I've no doubt that the stories you picked up on Saturday night will infiltrate their way into Politico's coverage.
Don't worry, you'll see little trickles of it here and there.
Let's talk about real politics. It's the 99th day of Donald Trump's presidency. There's a lot happening around that in the media. We've seen a flurry of opinion polls over the weekend, seeing how is he doing in the eyes of the public. Answer is pretty badly by historic terms. If you look at a number of polls, they're all pretty much saying that Donald Trump has a lower approval rating than pretty much anyone else in decades. Do you think they'll be worried by that in the White House? Will they be upset about that, or will they be surprised about that?
There are a couple of different ways that Trump world sees this. Number one, there's the kind of dismissal, right, of polling is nonsense, polling is biased against Trump. And a lot of the time what they're saying publicly is a lot of what they're saying privately about that too, especially to Trump, because everyone kind of wants to make sure that his ego is intact here. At the same time, we've seen that his threshold for for pain is higher this time around. We've seen that threshold get hit with some of these trade deals and the stock market and the bond market. But in general, he is more ready and willing to take on bad poll numbers and criticism than he was the first time around. But the rubber will meet the road once we start getting closer to midterms. I think right now a lot of the thinking inside is this isn't going to last. There's turmoil right now because of a number of these very high stakes negotiations, whether you're talking about Ukraine or you're talking about all of these, many trade deals that they say are on the table right now in China. And they think that give us a few months. That's the conversation they're having with Wall Street as well. Give us time and space. We're going to turn this all around. But that's ultimately going to be
that makes sense. I mean, we've heard from Trump himself, right, saying describing this as like painful medicine or whatever phrases,
right,
not that,
right.
but whatever phrase he used. And they knew that this first bit would be bumpy. It's certainly been that.
Yeah.
Was talking to someone at one of the events on Saturday who's a big hedge fund guy. They were like so depressed about the state of the economy. They really thought America's essentially going down the pan. And there are certainly important people in finance who believe that. Donald Trump believes it's all going to be fine. So,
but this is certainly not the vibe that I think anyone in Trump world, including Trump himself, wanted for 100 days, right? You want to feel victorious. You want to feel like things are on the up and up. And that's just not the current climate around this White House.
Right. Except that, as we've said, Caroline Leavitt's going to do a big briefing this morning. She's bringing along one of the top immigration officials in
border czar.
In the border czar, and clearly the reason for that is that somewhere where Donald Trump has completely succeeded is in stopping the flow of people coming across the border, as he pledged to do, and he has done that in a way that I don't think anybody would have really believed was possible when you looked at what was happening at the border for the last few years for America. I mean, that has been an extraordinary success story. Many people might not agree with the way he's gone about it. They might not even agree with the aim. I don't know, but whatever. From his own point of view, he promised he was going to do it, and he has done that. So you can understand why at the start of this week of all weeks, they're very keen to talk about that topic rather than the economy.
That's absolutely right. And even on the campaign trail, he always said, I think immigration is the most important issue that I will win on, more important even than the economy. We will see how that shakes out in the coming weeks and months. But this is absolutely their bright spot right now and what they want to highlight and what they want to see Democrats lash out against, too. Whenever they see Democrats cry out about how they're tackling the immigration issue, there are secret and public hoorays behind the scenes, right? Because they think that they are putting Democrats exactly where they want them to be, and this is their strategy playing out successfully.
Yeah, they see it very much the dividing line, and they want the Dems on the other side of that line because they think basically the public, the people that matter in terms of voters, agree with them on this topic. We mentioned Ukraine. I mean, it's obviously been the most extraordinary weekend in terms of the Ukraine talks. The image of Donald Trump and Zelensky sat in Rome in the church is one of the most amazing political pictures I've ever seen. Maybe the most amazing political picture I think I've ever seen.
It's that, and the image of him after the assassination attempt in Butler.
Right.
You have two images with Donald Trump from this era that are absolutely breathtaking.
The big question is any of it consequential in terms of those talks with Zelensky on Saturday? And where do we go from here? We heard Marco Rubio yesterday on the Sunday shows saying that this is a very big week in terms of the peace process, such as it is. That if this is the week America's going to decide if this can happen, if America's going to walk away. We've seen Donald Trump putting pressure on Vladimir Putin, or telling him it's time to stop attacking. There's no sign of Russia doing that. It must be nerves in the White House that this isn't going as they had hoped and as Trump had promised.
Yeah, I think it will be consequential because it has to be. We are getting to that fever pitch moment, and the White House and Trump himself, the president, has felt increasingly impatient. And we've seen him lash out more at Zelensky, but now that we're starting to see him turn up the pressure on Putin as well. Look, I think a couple of things happen. Either he makes a deal or the U.S. walks away. Now, what that means, I don't know, but that will certainly be consequential. So either way this goes, it's going to be historic, and the ramifications will be significant.
Completely. And the expectation, I guess, in Europe will be that if America walks away, it's not just walking away from peace talks, but potentially walking away with its money and its ammo
Yeah, no,
and all the rest of it.
the flow of funding, the flow of ammunition, all of that is over. I mean, that is also the big reason that Trump wants to make a deal, because the Republican Party is all but done with it being engaged in the conflict in any way except for being able to take credit for peace.
The one other big thing we should probably be watching out for this week in this sort of 100-day week, if I can put it that way, is trade deals, right? Peter Navarro, the trade advisor, said it was perfectly possible to do 90 trade deals in 90 days. And we all went, really? And here we are on whatever it is now, day 16 since he said that. And we're still on zero. Feels like the Japanese trade negotiators back in DC again today. It feels like Japan, India, those are the ones that they're focused on most, but they need something, right, to give
Yeah, oh, the clock is really, really, really ticking here. I mean, they need to show serious progress very soon. They pointed to that deal with between JD Vance and India, which wasn't a deal. It was an agreement to find a way to agree, right? And I think what is likely to happen sooner than later, from what I'm hearing from my sources, is sort of laying out the basic principles and the framework for agreements with a lot of these nations, because there is so much impatience and so much anxiety that they need to put something on paper, but it takes time to work out the details of some of these very complex trade agreements with, I mean, basically every country in the world.
Right. And you could imagine just a framework deal with Japan, say, gets announced this week. And that's enough for them to say, right, the tariffs from Japan, they're gone for, maybe apart from the 10% baseline, they're gone for the foreseeable while we hammer out the detail of this over the next few months. At least that's a way of doing a quote unquote deal in short space of time, right?
That's right. That's what I would look out for.
Okay. All right. Dasha, we're out of time. We better leave it there. Enjoy the briefing, the 8:30 hangover briefing, the punishment briefing, if I can put it that way, from the White House. We'll be watching out for you on
We
TV.
will all be hurting, but we will be asking the questions anyway.
Got a job to do. All right. You can find more of this conversation by listening to Playbook Daily Briefing wherever you get your podcasts. And for more of our thoughts on this and anything else you need to know, please read Playbook this morning and every morning at politico.com/playbook. I'm Jack Blanchard. That was Dasha Burns. Thank you, Dasha. Good luck.
Happy Monday.
Thanks for listening.